Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, last couple of weeks we are discussing about the 37 factors of enlightenment, and today we're going to learn Pancha Indriya. Pancha Indriya means 5 spiritual faculties. There are several sutras in Samyutta Nikaya, Mahavaka. We can see a couple of sutras and then we can try to understand the meaning of it. Indriya Samyutta start in this like this. Entire connected discourses of 5 spiritual faculties begin with this sutta, Saddhika Sutta. It says, Savatthi Nidana. This sutra has been preached in Savatthi. It's very simple, one line word is there. Supreme Buddha says, Panchamani Bhikkhave Indriyani, because these are 5 spiritual faculties. Katamani Pancha, in what 5? It says, Saddindriyam, Virindriyam, Satindriyam, Samadhindriyam, Panindriyam, Imani Ko Bhikkhave, Panchindriyani. These are the 5 spiritual faculties. It mentioned that these 5 faculties, what Saddhindriyam. Saddhindriyam, it means faith of the spiritual faculty of faith, spiritual faculty of energy, spiritual faculty of mindfulness, spiritual faculty of concentration, spiritual faculty of wisdom. These are the 5 spiritual faculties. Supreme Buddha mentioned in the next sutta, Yatoko bhikkhave arya savako, when the noble disciple, imesam panchannam indriyanam asadam cha adinamam cha nissaranam cha yathabhutam vajanati. When the noble disciple understands these 5 spiritual faculties, see the how they are coming to appear and sustaining and finishing in this from this world, understand in all the way, means how they are coming to appear, what is their how the feeling of it, what are the difficulties in to realize, or what the changes are in this, and how they finish from. So if someone understands, it means simple. It says, if someone realize, someone understand what these spiritual faculties are, these 5 faculties, ayam uchati bhikkhave arya savako sotapanno. Just by realizing it, what these spiritual faculties are, and those are exist in us, in which manner, in which state we are, if we understand that, if this exists in us, Supreme Buddha says, Arya Savako Sotapanno, this noble disciple is stream enterer. Avinita Patha Dhammo, Niyato Sambodhi Parayano. It means that this person who coming to the stream is never going to fall back. He is definitely traveling toward enlightenment. So, the simple word, if we realize, if someone understands the Indriya, these 5 spiritual faculties, by only understanding it, realizing it, these are the faculties exist. Only realizing of that, the person can attain the stream enterer. So that is very important. You see, in couple of last time, what we were studying, this sutta is especially Supreme Buddha mentioned in this Indriya Sanyukta, not in the previous suttas. It does not mention it properly. It says always help to move forward, or to based on that you can understand these things. Based on this, you can progress in that. But in this sutta, it directly mentioned that by realizing it, the person can attain stream internship. So the realizing of Dhamma, it starts from here. Then in the second sutta, Supreme Buddha mentioned about if someone understand that samudayamcha, attangamamcha, asadamcha, adinamcha, nisarnamcha, yathabhutam pajanati, how they are come to exist, how they sustain, how they finish. If someone understands that, different ways Supreme Buddha mentioned, if all is in every and every way what these spiritual faculties are, if someone understands, they can attain enlightenment. In one of suttas, Supreme Buddha mentioned that if they viditva, yathabhutam viditva, it means realize it properly, means they live the life with that, with this five. Means if someone have fulfilled, someone have completed these spiritual faculties, so that person, the Supreme Buddha says, Bhikkhu Araham Khina Savo, that Bhikkhu is enlightened one who has finished all the work from here. So first, that person has to realize what? That these spiritual faculties are the part of Dhamma, that these faculties exist in me, in some of that. If someone has understands and realized it, and they feel that this is faculties exist in me, then that person can, we can call it, it's enlightened. So we have to understand first what are the spiritual faculties then. It's first, not spiritual faculties. First, the faculties what we talk about. It's very simple. One of this Indriya Sutta, Indriya Sanyukta, Supreme Buddha has mentioned there are other Indriyas also. There are other faculties also, and those are Supreme Buddha called Chakku Indriya. It's five: that eyes, ear, nose, tongue, then body, and then mind. So these are also faculties that exist in us. So we all have the eyes, we have ears, we have nose, we have tongue, we have body, and we have mind. Okay? If someone understands that these faculties exist in me, what that person use? What that person do? He utilize this faculty to benefit of their life. Like if someone knows that I have eyes, what will happen? They use it for seeing this world. The person who understands that I have ear, I have nose, then what they use it for their easiness in life. Thing is that if not every person has a equal in that way. Every person has a different eyesight, different the voice or the strength to hear the word. So if someone's eyes is perfectly fine, everything is perfect, we call that this person is complete. There is no fault in his faculties. That is, we call the healthy person. Okay, but some of the time, someone's eyesight is a little bit weak. Someone can hear a little bit less. That what we do, we use it to, we call that this person is a little bit sick because he cannot see. So we would substitute for that, the eye or the spectacles or the glasses we use. For ears, we use the machines we use. So those are the things in there. In Dhamma, it can be get cured. So in Dhamma also, in the same way, we also have these spiritual faculties. What is their use? If someone understand that how the eyes works, in the same way the Saddha also works. The Saddha Indriyas also, the faith also, this work in the same way. What this person will do? He will utilize to comfort or the practice of the life. But when that person understand that I have eyes, I have Saddha, the confidence, you know. And last week we talked about Bala, Pancha Bala. Those are the same thing. Those are the same powers. Same thing. Saddha Bala, Virya Bala, Sati Bala, Samadhi Bala, Panya Bala. Same thing. The powers also same. But what is the different than powers and Indriya? It's very simple. You know, it is how we use them. How we use. For the powers, for the power, we utilize strength. You know, we can call strength. So intentionally, you have to work in that. You know, like if you want to lift something up. So earlier time, we all think we utilize the power. Then we understand, okay, we can use this work, we can make this work a little bit easier. So we use techniques, you know. So we invented the pulley system, we invented the different systems for what? To make the work easier. So we are utilizing our mind, you know, the manindriya that we use for what? To make it a little more comfortable. In the same way, this when powers becomes a natural instinct, you know, that it becomes instinct of us, you know, simply if the faith that for the powers, the faith, what it does, we have to force it a little bit more, like to make it more stronger, to giving the strength to us, we have to work for it. But when it becomes the indriya, it becomes natural. Naturally, that faith becomes there, it stays there. And what it does, it guides us to this. For if someone has a little bit difficulty to understand it, like anything that you want to identify, you want to see in this world, if you have any difficulty to do it, what you do, you take more time to learn. Like for me, studying English, it was very hard, very difficult. Okay, for the different same goes for the single language also. You know, so if you learn this single language or any language apart from your mother tongue, you need little bit more strength, little bit more effort to practice it. And what happened? For a couple of months, when you're studying this language, what you do? You take every word, you what you translate from your mother tongue to that. Then what happened after translating? You make the what you call complete sentence. Is it the proper one? This is all things happen in the mind, you know, and that's why sometimes that we misspell or sometimes we scroll with the grammar does not have the properly. And but one state that it comes, then when you start to think in that same language what you are speaking, after that you start to dream in that language what you are learning. Okay, so whenever the next person comes and whatever the language, when another person in that language comes and talk with us, after time we did not need to translate from our mother tongue to that language. What happened? It become natural to us, you know, because of the vocabularies there and everything. We started to think of that. From the effort, it has become natural. That language has become our second language, you know. Same thing happened with the five powers, transformed from the powers to faculties, spiritual faculties. Same thing happened. It becomes nature of us to have them. For confidence, earlier time that we may have a little bit doubts on the Supreme Buddha some of the time, that we have to take effort to understand. We have to take the effort that why the Supreme Buddha mentioned in this way. But when it becomes a spiritual faculty, what happened then? whatever is happening in surrounding of us, we develop the eye to see through the Dhamma. What the Buddha has mentioned about this, how the Dhamma explains on this, in what manner the Sanghas live their life according to Dhamma. Every time, whenever any worldly thing happens, that is the first thing comes our mind. That becomes the nature. Naturally, it happens. That becomes the nature of us. That's why it called the spiritual faculty. Supreme Buddha mentioned that how it's if you may have noticed that time to time Supreme Buddha visited disciples to teach the Dhamma for them, and how he chose those disciples. In some of the times, Supreme Buddha traveled very far, with the psychic powers, he travels there and he teach Dhamma to that certain person. And what is the reason for that? Why does not Supreme Buddha wait that this person will come and then I will teach? It because Supreme Buddha has a power to see. Supreme Buddha can see that this person has these spiritual faculties and in what manner, how much they are developed in this person. If they are completed, then he just need a couple of words to realize the Dhamma. So even if you are not a Buddhist person, even you do not have the words, but if the Buddha speak in that time, the spiritual faculties becomes automatically completed in that time. For us, it will take more time. We need more effort to develop them. Every person in this world possesses these spiritual faculties. Every person does not have anything that this person does not possess. Only difference is in which how much amount or what is the measure for that. It's how much they have the spiritual faculties and which direction they are leading to. We have to see. The same goes with the mind also. If every person has a mind, how they are utilizing it, it depends on that. In the same way, the spiritual faculties also. When you are studying Dhamma, when you are practicing Dhamma, these five faculties we have to study, we have to be mindful, we have to understand, so we can bring the development, little bit growth in these five spiritual faculties. Supreme Buddha mentioned Vibhanga Sutta from Panchamani Bhikkave Indriyani, because these are the five spiritual faculties. Katamani Pancha, so five spiritual faculties mentioned. And then Supreme Buddha explained what are those. Saddhindriya, first is spiritual faculty of faith or confidence. Either Bhikkhave Arya Savako Saddho Hoti, here any noble disciples develop confidence. Sadhati Tathagatasa Bodhi, he developed confidence on the realization of Supreme Buddha or Supreme Buddha's enlightenment. He developed the confidence on Supreme Buddha's enlightenment. That Itipiso Bhagava Arhang Samma Sambuddha, that Supreme Buddha is Arhang Samma Sambuddha in that way. Idam Uchati Bhikkhave Saddhindriyam, because that is called Saddhindriyam. It means the person goes beyond doubt of Supreme Buddha's realization, his enlightenment. There is no doubt in his mind that the Supreme Buddha born in this world, he realized under the Bodhi tree that these are the four noble truths. After realizing, he attained enlightenment and he taught this Dhamma to welfare of all gods and humans. So what exactly he realized? That this enlightenment, that there is the suffering and we can escape from this suffering. So person understands that this person developed confidence that Supreme Buddha is enlightened one. Supreme Buddha, he has realized this world, understood it, and he liberated himself from this world. So the confidence on Supreme Buddha's enlightenment It means that what what the teaching of Supreme Buddha is there, there is no doubt. Means if anything that we have not understand, that is our fault that way, not the Supreme Buddha. Because the Supreme Buddha, what he taught in this Dhamma, that because of his realization, because of his enlightenment, we are unable to understand it because we are not looking through the eye of Supreme Buddha, or simply, we are not looking through the Dhamma. Some of the time, we always try to compare these worldly things, the small, small things, with the Dhamma. Okay? But we always lose the bigger meaning behind this. You know, like simple question people ask: why the people are suffering? And then most of the time, Supreme Buddha mentioned that it is from the previous birth, some of the karma tracks here. You know, so simply the people, they say that okay, because of the karma they are suffering, but they always forget in this life what they are doing. It is also affecting in the same time. It can be changed. You know, so one word they took it, one word we use, and then we make the entire based on that we explain the situation. So how can that be? We forget, we take one thing and then we circle it with all the problems. It cannot happen. Realization is means that at Supreme Buddha what is taught, we have to understand that Supreme Buddha has realized and that he mentioned it. So we don't have to take only one word, but to see the entirely. What is that? So developing confidence on Supreme Buddha, what the Dhamma has taught, not for the just for the one single word or what is utilizing for us. Some things better the Dhamma is explained. Some of the time it's against of how we behave, how we act. So we have to consider all those things. And that only happens when we have the true confidence on Supreme Buddha. And that's why that is something. Like last week we talked about that Malika Devi was Sotapan. Okay, so when the when Supreme Buddha said this word that Pemato Jayati Sopo, because of the love that the people are suffering because of love, you know, Pemato Jayati Sopo, because of love people are suffering. They have the fear. If someone is liberated from the love, then they are liberated from all the suffering also. You know, so everyone else understands, oh, the Buddha is against of love. But Malika Devi, she was a Sotapanna in that time, or before maybe it happened, but she has the confidence on Supreme Buddha. What she said? No, I have to see that how the Supreme Buddha is mentioning. But in the some of the disciples, like Super Buddha, when he attended the stream entrance state, when he has developed the path, what happened? When the God Saka came and asked him, you say against the Buddha that Buddha is wrong. He said immediately, without any doubt, he said, no, Supreme Buddha is not wrong. Whatever he has said, it's completely true. I do not desire the money from you just to, to say that Buddha is wrong and I can survive. So that is the Indriya, because does not have to think of it anymore. It's already there. He possesses that quality in him. That's why when the Supreme Buddha teach the Dhamma, because of this Indriyas, these spiritual faculties has developed in that much amount, when the people hear the Dhamma, they attain the enlightenment in the very state. So, for the realization of Dhamma, this spiritual faculty should be very strong. So, first one is that. Second one is Katamangchi Bhikkhave Virindriya. Same goes for the that Akusalanang Dhammanang Pahanaya Aradha Viryo Niharati, with the effort, the constant effort, continuous one, which is there. It's not just I started now and then it will loosen up, or I will start. Like for us, we want to do something, and what we do, we begin it for a couple of time, a couple of hours or couple of days, then we lose interest on that. You know, it happens all the time. Like some people want to go for jogging, some start to do the exercise, and if you are lazy with the nature, that happens. You do for a couple of time with the effort, and then you lose interest, and you stop going for the gym or the walking or anything. That happens. It naturally happens. That is not Aradhaviri. Aradhaviri means whatever the task you have taken up, you are continuing. You will be doing effort up to it is finished. It's done. You are not gonna stop it. That is called Aradhaviri. Constant effort without stopping. So Supreme Ida Bhikkhave Arya Savako Aradhaviriyo Viharati. With the constant effort means there is no lapse in that. For the powers, the Virya Bala, it is that you choose, you deal with it the time to time. You make it strength, you make it stronger, you take effort. But for the Indriya, for the spiritual faculty, you do not have to take effort. You are continuously, constantly, you are working on that. You get it what I'm saying? It says, Aradha Viryo Viharati Arya Savako, this noble disciple, with the constant effort, he dwell in this world. Akusalanam Dhammanam Pahana, in the same way, the four Samapadhana is mentioned, but with the Aradha Virya, with the constant effort, means always there. There is no choosing, or there is no deciding, or there is no taking anything else. He always choose the part of Dhamma. So the constant thing is there. It's not that today I'm doing, but tomorrow I'm not. Like every time we take that, for the precepts, we talked about the 5 precepts, how to practice it. Some of the time it's not completing. And the reason what we find, that we are not strong enough to deal, or strong enough to stop it from happening. That's why once someone has these 5 spiritual faculties, someone realize that person is considered as the Sotapan, because Sotapan has one quality, that he cannot break the precepts what he have. There is continuous one. So even if some precepts has broken, he cannot hide it from anyone. There is no alternative motive from there. Only one, that he is constant in the precepts. How that happens? Because of this Aradhaviri. This Indriya, when it is spiritual faculty, unshakable confidence, then Aryakanta Sile is Samanna. He's following precepts, which is loved by noble one. Then Satindriya. Ida Bhikkhave Arya Savako Satima Hoti. It develops the mindfulness. Paramena Satine Pakkena Samanna. Paramena means in the extent, means up to that level, when he does not lose the concentrated for the single second, is away from that. Paramena Satine Pakkena Samannagato. Chirakatampi Chirabhasitampi Sarita Anusarati, for the longest time, continuous one, without any disturbance. That constant flow is happening in that way. Like river has a constant flow, does not stop. Continuously it's flowing. That's why the Supreme Buddha gave how much has water been flown in the ocean. We cannot count it. That much ocean is flowing continuously. You cannot take the bucket and then count it 1, 2, 3, 4, and how much is that? Because it continues flowing. Now we have a different measurement, we see the diamond area, then we see the depth, we see the current and that way. But counting it and measuring it that this much of liter is going in this moment, it's not possible. The same way Supreme mentioned that this Satindriya also is something like that. Constant one there. There is no lapse in that. Like we do the meditation now, how we practice? We practice for to make it stronger, because all the time when we are practicing for the breathing meditation, what happens? We are breathing in, breathing out. Oh, I kept my stove open. Last time, couple of days before, someone brought the dana for us. And then she realized I have put the milk on the stove and it's still burning. So someone has to run back and then close that, stop that stove. So they say that 3 liters of milk is only remaining 1. So 2 liters is evaporated. So that happens, It happens for the common people, means they are tracking everything doing. It's this. When we practice meditation, it same happens. When we are breathing, we go somewhere else, Or some of the time, if we have more stronger, then we automatically, while breathing, we remember the verses of what the Supreme Buddha says about it, or how we want to develop this concentration. We think of that way, So there are time lapse in there. There is no continuous of practicing. Like 24/7, we cannot practice Satipatthana. Here it mentions continuous one. 24/7, that person is aware. It means that this person is practicing it's forwarding, it's taking one step further toward enlightenment. In the Satipatthana Sutra's conclusion, the phala, what it has mentioned. If someone practices this continuous 24/7 Satipatthana, what happens to that person? Only 2 results that person should expect. One, in this very life, he can attain the enlightenment, or he can be anagami, the non-returner in this very life. So that is only 2 reasons. Why? Because there is continuous one. Paramena Satipatthana. Paramena means there is no measurement. It's the extent of that. Means he has reached in the top level. Chirakatampi, continuous one. There is no stopping. Chirabhasitampi, whatever he is doing, whatever he is saying, Sarita, with the pleasure, with the happiness, Anusarati, constantly is dwelling in that. With the 4 foundation of mindfulness, is dwelling in that. Idam Gucchati Bhikkave Sati Indriya. That mindfulness becomes a spiritual faculty when there is no taking effort, but it becomes the part of your life. Like your breathing, like our breathing. Means when we are thinking of our breath, what we do? Sometimes we take effort to breathe, For the aim, when we have started to practice breathing meditation, how we did? When we say breathing in, then automatically we forcefully breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Some of the time that happens, that if the instructor stops to say the breathe in, breathe out, we take pause in between that. Then we visualize our breath. When the instructor says that if you are breathing longer breath in, automatically we extend that breath, because I did the same thing. So when I talk with the people, they also mention that happens because we are taking effort. But when you are sleeping, when you are talking, you don't control your breath. It's constant there. So the same way, the awareness, complete awareness is there. That is called Satindriya. You are aware everything what is happening. The good, bad, everything, walking, moving, that become nature as your breath. That's called Satindriya. Katamang bhikkave samadhi indriya. Then samadhi indriya, Arya Savago, Vosakar, Ramanam, Karitva Lavati Samadhi. Next it talk means he has, how someone attained the Samadhi jhanas. That person, Lavati Chittasa Ekagatam, Idam Gucchati Bhikkave Samadhi Indriya. This person attains that concentration according to his will, that there is a jhanas before this indriya is been stronger. You can develop. Like for now, when we are talking about jhanas, what happened? We have to take effort to practice. I want to attain the jhanas, and we do practice, but it doesn't come naturally for us. For who has developed the indriyas, five spiritual faculties, for them, whenever they sit down for meditation, if they are willing to attain the jhanas, automatically automatically it happens naturally for them. Like it happens for moving our hand movement. You know, if you are nailing, and that you have the hammer, you know how much strength you need to nail that into the wood or anywhere. So proper understanding that you do that thing, it becomes naturally, it comes that you have to do in that way. Same thing, naturally it comes to attain, means you attain it into the mindful or jhanas, you attain the jhanas. You gain the concentration automatically. If you are willing to have the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, that automatically develops it. So the person develops the concentrated mind, the mindfulness there. So the concentrated mind, the samadhi is there. Idan vuchati bhikkave samadhi indriya. Then katamam bhikkave panyindriya. Ida bhikkave arya savako panyavahoti udayatta gamini panyaya samannagato aryaya nivedikaya samma dukkakaya gaminya idan vuchati bhikkave panyindriya. What it says, Arya Savaka, the noble disciple, Panyavahoti, he becomes wise for what? Udayatta Gamini, whatever is arising and decreasing, whatever is coming to birth and finishing it. So all the things, every phenomenal things, they are appearing, sustaining, and disappearing. That Panyaya Samannagato, he see them through the eye of wisdom. Arya, their proper way, nibbedika, to detaching himself from this worldly thing. Samma dukkha khayagaminiya, that all the suffering and sustaining and finishing them, he looks through that. So in everything, what he sees, that these all are coming there, sustaining and finishing. Everything is he sees as a dukkha, then that there is sustaining and that is also finishing. So dukkha khayagaminiya. So all the suffering also finishing in that way. He sees in that way. Nibbedika. Nibbedika means he has that nothing is attached. He doesn't become attached with those things. So without any attachment, just to realize this world, he develops that he looks this world with that wisdom, without attachment. So all the thing is coming to appear, sustaining and finishing is through with the eye of Dhamma. And that is called, that is the Supreme Buddha said, Idan Vuchati Bhikkave Panyindriya, and that is the Panya Indriya. Like for us now, we have to take effort to see the suffering in these worldly things. Like any thought appear to our mind, we have to process that this is wrong thought, this is bad, or this is good thought. That we decide that do we have to nurture it or not, or what should we do? We have to think. But Panya Indriya is something, whatever is happening in front of your eyes, automatically, without any attachment, you realize that with the according of Dhamma, that everything is temporary, everything is finishing. I cannot bound with it. So Udayattagamini. So arising and disappearing is look at them with the detachment with the goddess of Dhamma. So everything is coming, discipline. That person does not have to take effort to see it. Idam Guchati Bhikkhave Panchindriya. So think of this. If someone have these five indriyas, spiritual faculties, that person does not need anything else more. Like this person has everything what the Dhamma has explained in this world. Everything. Like the healthy person, what that healthy person needs. If the person is happy, if the person, everything is there. His eyesight is working properly, his ears, nose, tongue, everything is proper. He is happy with that. What he needs more? Nothing. Because his mind also happy. All the craving is there, all the thing we want, this thing. For what? That we are not healthy enough, we are still what it called our desire is there to feel that we want to make ourselves more happier than what we are now. So if person is truly happy, then there is nothing he needs anymore. Same thing goes for the Dhamma also. If someone have these spiritual faculties, that person does not need anything else because he has realized Dhamma already. Because in further suttas, it mentioned here that when the person one by one, he develops and practices further, only two things remain for that person also. One, he will become enlightened, and or he will be anagami, non-returner. There is a one complete chapter. It's called Mududara Vaggo. Here, Supreme Buddha mentioned in this way. Imesam bhikkhave panchanna indriyanam samatta paripuratta araham bhuti. When someone have completed these spiritual faculties, completed, there is nothing remain to feel. There is nothing remain to develop further. Paripurita araham bhuti. That this person is called enlightened person. There is not a single drop, you can, if you are filling the glass or bucket, and if it's complete fill, we call that, you can still put the drop of the water and it will be there, up to there. But there is one drop you put and it is going to spill. Up to that measure, these five spiritual faculties feel in someone's life, that person can call the enlightened. That is truly feel. Then tato mudutarehi anagami. If it is not completely filled yet, it's little bit little bit lower than completed. That person will be anagami. Less than that, that person will be sakadagami. Lesser than that, it will be sotapanna. That person will be sotapanna. Tato madutarehi mudutarehi dhammanusari. This person will be dhammanusari. Tato mudutarehi saddhanusari. It means whatever how much you increase in these spiritual faculties, according to that spiritual faculties, you will attain the stages of enlightenment, or we will attain the stages of enlightenment. So for someone who want to be saddhanusari, they has to have these spiritual faculties. Because of spiritual faculties, we become able to attain stages of enlightenment. So Saddhanusari, if someone have, he has to practice, he has to complete it a little bit more further. Then he becomes Dhammanusari. When his spiritual faculties increase it a little bit further, then that person becomes the stream enterer. And it goes up to enlightenment. So what we have to do, we have to develop the nature of these spiritual faculties in our life. These spiritual faculties, so how it can develop? When it becomes the power. When you take effort to develop them, that is called power. And some of the time, you will see, And how you will notice that this spiritual faculties is increasing in me? Because we are unable, we don't know how this is happening. So the simply you can understand like this, like when you are practicing loving kindness meditation. So when you close your eyes, for first time when we do, we have to visualize that, we have to take more and more effort. But later on, some of the time we feel it's become nature for us, natural for us to develop, you know, for the words. If someone is listening first time, may I be free from anger, may I be free from ill will, may I be free from jealousy, what thought comes to their mind? What I'm chanting now, what I'm listening, what I'm saying. That happens with all of us. When I listen the first time, that, but now we are practicing continuously. Now it becomes natural for us. Those words are more familiar. Immediately we understand the meaning of it. And some of the time, when we are developing loving kindness, we directly focus on to directly that person, or this person may get free from that. So we do not have to force it more strongly. It becomes natural. So you can understand that yes, my meditation is developing, my loving kindness meditation is developing in that direction. Same goes for the five uh, faculties, the sense faculties. How confidence is there. So you see everything where you see the development of Dhamma in your life, then this Indriya is also developing. Time to time means earlier time we have to take effort to think of Supreme Buddha's Dhamma. But now it's become, you remember the sutta, different sutta, it comes directly in your mind. That is called development. So immediately the word of Supreme Buddha, if it is circling in your mind, it means the Indriya Dharma is developing. When you are immediately you come to the awareness of what I'm doing, let me be more mindful. For that mindfulness, earlier time, the person, we have to take more and more effort to be mindful. But now it's getting, easier for us to develop. That is development of spiritual faculty. Earlier time, we have to take effort to process the Dhamma. We see that in this world, continuous world, we have to process it. Now it becomes natural for us. Okay, the Dhamma explains that this is happening because of karma. This is happening because of their own actions. We cannot blame anyone else. That happens. Whatever is arising, whatever is sustaining, it's going to finish. We come to that understanding. Earlier, we just forcefully say that those things, but now we are feeling that little bit more and more. We feel, we see this Dhamma. Yes, it is really happening, and because of that, some of the time we become sad also. That is also one of the things we see. If you see this Dhamma in continuous one, you can say that spiritual faculty is developing. So, as it is getting stronger and stronger, then we can say that yes, up to Saddhanusari, then Dhammansari, then Sotapanna, Sakatagami, Anagami, enlightened. These things happen, this path can be developed because of these things. So we have to understand what the spiritual faculties are and what their how they function. So we talk that how they function. It becomes nature for us to do. And how to develop? We have to enforce the five powers to become the natural instincts. It should become our nature. So as you are practicing for the five powers to develop, that development transform into the Indriya, transform into our, it becomes our second nature. And that is called Panchendriyas, five spiritual faculties. With these five spiritual faculties, what you do, you develop Satta Bojjhanga. Because of these spiritual faculties is developing, because help of these spiritual faculties, those things help for Satta Bojjhanga, the seven factors of enlightenment. These seven factors of enlightenment completed in the Noble Eightfold Path. When the Noble Eightfold Path is completed, not just realized, completed, this person is enlightened. So these 5 spiritual faculties, what they will do, they will help us to develop the 7 factors of enlightenment. These 7 factors of enlightenment is Saddhanusari, Dhammanusari. It boosts toward that. When the enlightenment first things you realize the 4 noble truths, that person is, say, Sammaditthi. Someone realizes the 4 noble truths, that person becomes Sammaditthi. So the stream enter. That happens because of this 5 indriya, 5 spiritual faculties for enlightenment. So we have to practice Dhamma up to that state there. So we can realize, we can see this Dhamma in constant force surrounding with us. Then we can look at the Dhamma in surrounding us. Because Dhamma, what Supreme mentioned, is not just a word of Buddha. Buddha has just explained these things to us. But the Dhamma is natural law. Dhamme Dhammanupassati Viharati, what we call by Dhamma, all the phenomena, what we look, what we see, the true nature of it. So the spiritual faculties we have to develop up to that point when the true nature of this world we can look at, we can realize. So true nature is not outside, it is this inside one. We have to develop the natural things in here. We have to see this everything. That's it. So Bala, try to make it more stronger, take more effort to develop the 5 spiritual powers. And then those powers, when you are practicing more and more, then they become, or they transform into the natural instincts. That will happen, these 5 spiritual faculties. These spiritual faculties, as you develop, they will help you to understand all the 7 factors of enlightenment. You will realize that you do it more and more work. And with that, we are entering into Dhamma. That will decide how much path is remaining. So what we have to do, we have to continuous practice and develop. Okay, so that's all for today. These are the spiritual faculties. There are a couple of other suttas also mentioned here. If some other times we will describe it. But for now, that's it. So may this spiritual faculties be helpful for you to develop the more stronger confidence on Supreme Buddha, and you may realize the 4 noble truths in this Gautama practice and expression. Anything you want to ask, you can ask me.
So Bhante, can we also compare this with the Eightfold Path? Because mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom make 3 of the Eightfold Path. And sorry, not wisdom. Energy, mindfulness, concentration make the Samadhi 3 parts of. And wisdom, we could say it is right view and right intention. Typically, in the Eightfold Path, we include those 2. Would faith mean that if we are strong in faith, we'll also be good in speech and action and livelihood, and therefore it covers the Eightfold Path? Would we think it like that?
Yes, in a way we can connect, but not all the time. Like something there is a one sutta called in Dhamma it mentioned Sila Samadhi Panya, and then Panya Sila Samadhi. So Sila Samadhi is this virtue, concentration, and then wisdom. Most of the time Supreme Buddha mentioned in that way. But in one of suttas, it mentioned Panya, Sila, and Samadhi, the wisdom, Sila, and the concentration. Eightfold Path is that one. Panya is there, the right view, by determination, and Samadhi, Samma Sankalpa is there. So that is called the wisdom. Then the virtue, and then the completion of the Samma Samadhi, Samma Sankalpa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta. So Samma Vacha and Samma Kammanta is about Sila. Samma Ajiva is about Sila. And Samma Sati and Samma Samadhi, it's about mindfulness. So before that, that happens when you become stream enter. So these second things happens when you become stream enter. Before that, it's Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So this one is Sila that we take effort to practice. So it is little bit different, has the same meaning. We work the same thing, but has a difference how we practice it. So until you become a stream enterer, you are not directly on the path of enlightenment. So the Eightfold Path, we are not practicing. We are not practicing yet. We are practicing how to come into the path, how to come into the stream. So what we do, we are still studying the same thing, like simple things. If someone wants to become a doctor, so first from the first year, they say that I'm doctor. They know all the medicines and everything. They can mention everything is there, but they have to understand more and more. They have to take the license and license for registration and everything, and then they can say that I am doctor, I am certified. Before that, they know the medicine, they are practicing, they are making it more and more stronger. But after they get a degree, they can properly call themselves doctor. In the same way, studying medicine and after doctorate also, they have to study for that after they become master or something like this. For Dhamma also, we are studying the Dhamma up to we are getting that license that I am on path, I'm in stream enter. So later on also we have to practice up to we become enlightened. So the same thing is there, but difference is that it's before realizing of noble truths and after realization of noble truths. So we are in the state before realization of noble truth. We understand what is the noble truth is. We are trying to make the life of this, but we haven't, it is not realized yet. So still we are practicing the same way. From all the sutras you will see, one thing is common, that whenever it's called the mindfulness, Satipatthana is there. But the Satipatthana is mentioned in the Eightfold Path also. We cannot compare that. For today, what the Satipatthana we practice, it's a broken one, without any realization, without that strong effort and this. We are practicing yet, but who has attained the noble truths, the continuance of this path is there. So we have to take effort to do, and it becomes nature of it. Near the Dhamma, like when now we are practicing the noble Eightfold Path, still we are practicing. So our noble path is not destined to end in the enlightenment. What we are practicing in our Dhamma today, it's not destined to become enlightened. It is just we are practicing up to that certain point. That's all. But for the Eightfold Path, it is destined to end in the enlightenment. That is a difference.
Yes, Bante. Actually, partially Bante already answered. Actually, I was just asking about last week's 5 powers and
Okay.
today's enhancement into 5 spiritual faculties. Um,
Yeah.
there is no inclusion of virtue and generosity. Now, Bante a while ago made mention about strivings, but I'm thinking, could it be that the virtue generosity is a prerequisite for the 5 powers, something like that?
Yes, it is there.
It is
See,
there. Yeah.
it's Dana, Seal, and Bhavana. Dana is generosity, Sila is virtue, and Bhavana is concentration or meditation. Okay? These three things are connected. Without practicing generosity, you cannot complete the Sila. Without completing the Sila, you cannot complete the mindfulness. So that those theses included. That's why all the Dhamma is began with the generosity. Supreme Das, okay, practice generosity. practice virtue for the worldly things. But when you come to that, when it becomes nature, that you don't have the stinginess in you anymore, then there is no meaning of generosity. We are not generous yet because we still holding those things inside us. So this is precious to me. That's one. So once you come to that state, there is no importance of that. Automatically, it becomes automatically you do that thing.
Buddha didn't include the into one of the powers or
Yeah.
spiritual faculty. No.
So yeah, it cannot be. The sila cannot be your spiritual power. Sila cannot be based on, because of the sila is there already done. That's why you have attended the mindfulness and the wisdom, because of the sila is completed. So what sila does, it gives the concentrated mind and samadhi. So if there is no sila, then there is nothing is there. It's like it is something like that. If you are building the house, what you do first? You dig the hole in the ground and you make the base first. Okay? You make the base first. After that, you raise the walls or those things. Are you saying that those wall or the studs in between wall in the insulation, it should be visible from the outside? How it will look? It doesn't look good. Sila, generosity and sila is something like that. They are there. Based on that, this entire house is stand up. It's built, but it is not visible there. There is no need. Now, every time the house is there, we understand that there is a foundation. Without foundation, no one can build a house. The foundation is sila and virtue. So you don't have to mention it. Okay, to build the foundation, that's enough. It's already there. If someone has built a house, it means they have the foundation. Sila and generosity is there.